Hello,
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Gabe,
I'm Jeremy.
and Jeremy just got his revenge from me making him watch Cabin Fever by making
Yes,
me watch Final Destination.
you could say that your Cabin Fever is my final destination.
Would you want to say that? Is that something you
I
want to say?
mean, I personally like it for its guilty pleasure and for the reasons why it exists, and you like Cabin Fever for the reasons why it exists, which I don't understand clearly, and you may not understand why I like my movie better than why you like your movie.
All right, this is already has gotten off to a great start. So, a little bit of background on me because
Mm,
I was the one who had not seen the Final Destination movies prior
yes.
to this podcast. Now I like this more than Jeremy liked Cabin Fever. I'm guessing because I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh, yeah. No, it has a higher rating on IMDb as well. It does
Yeah,
on Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean it also has a billion sequels. Like what?
Five. We
There,
consider
so there are
five a
16.
billion.
Okay, all right.
There's it's well, it has four sequels.
Rather than teach you what hyperbole is, we'll move on with the review. But I had not seen these before. Obviously, they're popular, and I was aware of them. But for reasons we might get into, I had some kind of reservation about watching them. But Jeremy recommended this to me because we also watched a movie last time about a young man who escapes a plane related death. Um,
Yes.
and the universe tries to correct this escape by engineering his new demise, and
Yeah.
that movie was done Darko.
hmm And the universe in Final Destination kind of does the same thing, but in a more playful and deadlier way.
And death in Final Destination operates like a slasher villain,
Yes.
for
Very
sure.
very hard to win against because there's so many things that can kill you in this world. And that's
Yeah.
what death slash universe decides to utilize when killing someone that cheated death.
Hmm. And that's what I knew about the Final Destination movies is it has this gimmick that all your death can be engineered in a series of really elaborate uh, kind of traps, but they're all
Yeah.
like natural. It's not like the Saw movies where it's one guy making the trap. In this case, it's like the universe itself is trapping you in your death.
Yes.
Um,
And you have no idea. You have no like awareness of it until it's too late.
yeah, unless you're the protagonist of
Of
this film. I've
course.
not seen the sequel, so you can tell me if they differ on this, but it seems that the formula is to have one guy who's aware of everything, who can see everything, and he's the only one who can like conquer death, basically, because he can foresee.
Yes. For the most part, yes. There's a formula in every single FD movie that is very similar within each other.
Mm.
The differences is how they see the death before it happens. Like, for instance, I'm going to go into spoilers for Final Destination 2. There's an elevator scene.
Um, Go ahead.
Oh, is that okay? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Should I
yeah, go
stop?
ahead.
So in Final Destination 2, there is an elevator scene where the main protagonist is played by a woman. She sees like a shadow of this lady who's carrying like a big box of robotic arms. Okay, and apparently those robotic arms are like a tool that Death uses to kill one of the people that cheated Death in that movie. And compared to Final Destination 1, where Devon Sawa's character, while he's having coffee with Ali Lauder's character, he sees a bus in the window before it actually
Before it actually
yeah
hits
yeah
somebody. Yeah, he gets
hits
shot in
the
the
one of the characters. I'm sorry that the characters don't really have memorable names. Like they're not really memorable in terms of like character
That's
names,
that's
except
something
maybe the first two characters, Alex Browning and yeah. See, I'm
clear,
I guess
clear,
Claire. Yeah, Claire.
clear.
Clear or Claire?
clear, like clearly,
Like
like
Clearwater?
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
weird, right? Okay.
Yeah. I
Uh,
only know Devin Sawa's character because he is the infamous guy in Eminem's music video Stan. So uh
that's him.
yeah, that's him. That's him. He was
Knew
the
I
main guy.
recognized it. It was driving
Yeah.
me crazy.
Yeah. Is that what? Oh, okay. Okay. So you didn't know where he was before. Like what other things you saw him in?
I knew Devin Sawa was an actor, but I was like, man, like I must have seen him somewhere, right? Like
Yeah.
he's very familiar to
He's
me.
in the music video Stan by Eminem.
And he's playing Stan, I'm guessing.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
So yeah, the Final Destination movies definitely have a similar formula going forward with each movie, but they try to bend it as much as they can, but still stick to the formula as it goes along.
Yeah, and that's uh, it's always been a franchise in my mind that was comparable to Saw or other slasher franchises. Like there was a formula, maybe some sequels tried to change things up more than others, but people are familiar with the setup. But
Yes,
this is
yes.
my first time.
And the
Yeah,
movies are very popular because people want to see how the characters die.
yeah,
It really isn't a focus on immaculate like acting. Like the acting is just so impeccable. The story is just one of the greatest. It's Oscar worthy. No, the films know what they are,
mm,
and it really goes down to how they die and if it's actually realistic enough to make it
yeah.
good.
Because there's in this first movie, I was wondering how over the top are the deaths going to be? Because in the first Saw, the traps are not that elaborate, and I was wondering if that would be the case here. And it was kind
Hmm.
of 50-50. Some deaths are like very carefully thought out and designed. Other deaths, like somebody gets hit by a bus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ones are really, really quick, and other ones are actually like very well thought out.
Right.
Can you tell me what death that you thought was going to happen, but it didn't happen, or it happened a different way?
I was pretty surprised when the what's his name, that one actor from American Pie. I don't know his name, but
Sean William Scott.
yes, yes. When he gets it's like a metal plate just kind of whizzes by and decapitates him.
Do you know why it's so quick?
Do I know why it's so? I mean, like why
Why he dies so quickly? Like death doesn't really like waste his time and just kills him right then and there.
No, I don't.
So I guess the formula is that death likes to take its time on the characters that haven't cheated death yet. You can see that with the teacher. That takes a very long time to decide how Mrs. Luton, I think, wants to
Yeah.
die or how she dies. Same goes with I guess Carter, the douchebag boyfriend.
Yes, Carter.
Yes, yeah. So he escapes somehow by testing his like immortality. He escapes at the last second, and then Death is upset. So Death wants to immediately just go to the next person like right after because the other person cheated Death, and so now he's free from the death sequence. And so when someone
So,
cheats Death, then Death goes immediately to the next person. No matter what he does, he's just like, all right, fuck it, you're gonna die right now. Who cares?
so is death? Does Death take this personally? It, like gets mad when somebody
I
cheats.
think Death has a personality. He gets mad when
I
someone
got
cheats Death. He gets mad when someone cheats on him. You know?
I got the impression that Death both had a sense of humor because some of these deaths are pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't know how intentional that is, but they made me laugh. And it's thin-skinned. Takes things really personally.
Oh yeah. No. When
Yeah.
you try to cheat the game, then Death gets on his nerves.
Mhm.
I'm putting him as his pronouns. It's a he him. His pronouns are definitely he him.
Sorry about that.
All good.
Yeah, but so this whole idea of death. Now let's actually just kind of go to the start of the movie and kind of go through the events because we have a really interesting setup, I think. And I was kind of excited. Somewhere along the way, I realized this is going to be a little bit more of a typical '90s horror movie
Yeah.
than I realized.
It
Because
does get very tense in the beginning.
yeah, I mean that whole thing,
Just,
like all the little omens
mm,
warning him of the plane crash. I like that they used John Denver's music just because he died in a plane crash. I thought that was funny. and
Yeah,
he becomes.
it's a lot of I guess callbacks to songs that talk about death or songs that are written a guy that died in a plane crash. The song in the bathroom stall scene where he's taking a shit, the main character, that song kind of reminds of like something's not right here, or it's about dying. So it's very in your face, like we're gonna something's gonna happen. Like it's very
Sure.
obvious. It's very suspenseful. It does it in a very pleasing way, I might add.
Yeah, and the plane crash sequence, the dream sequence, I thought was really well done. And then him waking up and having that episode, I don't know, that just it was really well done, and it kind of got me on board to the idea because I wasn't interested in seeing these movies. That's why I never got around to them.
Mhm.
And that actually got my attention. And then the investigation following that, like the interrogation scene with the FBI, and like the way Alex becomes this pariah, this freak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Um, I can see where people sort of like they don't really enjoy that he basically saved their lives.
well,
Especially
they
in
were
the
so put
funeral,
off by it.
the whole funeral, the whole memorability scenes where they're all like, in memoriam of all these people that died in the plane. That's 39 days later. So it's death is pretty much taking a huge break on them because he's waiting on them. He's it's
Mm.
not like instant, which I like. I like the fact that death is making it something. Oh, it's a plane crash. This main character had a premonition that the plane would crash, and so he saved all these people. But he's looked at negatively. He's not being hailed as a savior, and the FBI as well as his friends that used to like him or his bullies sort of resent him, or they think he's crazy.
Or that he's weird, or that they might think he even caused it somehow.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
later they tell you it's by some sort of fluid leak. I think I
Mm.
forgot. Yeah, fluid leak in the plane, which causes like a combustion from one side, then it caused pretty much a chain reaction to the plane.
Yeah. Now, another thing I thought Devin Sawa was pretty good in this role. I think he really got into the character. I love when he's starting to feel like a god, like when he realizes like
Yeah,
death and everything. There, that was a really interesting direction to go.
yeah,
I think if it weren't for the whole setup of like, okay, we have all these characters who escaped, we're gonna go through them one by one because it's still a slasher movie. I feel like that kind of limits it because it does become very formulaic and by the numbers. And um, I wish it was a little bit more psychological because when it was being psychological, it was good.
mm.
So it's very comparable to the Saw movies. Have you seen those?
No, actually, I haven't seen a single one. I heard the first one is really good.
I really like the first one, and it's a
Yeah,
very similar situation. Like the more psychological they were, just more interesting. Like because the traps, they can be creative, but they get old, and it's not like it actually makes the story more interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
they sort of rely on it too much, don't you think?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And for some people, that's the entertainment value, and I'm sure a lot of Final Destination fans love the over the top deaths.
I mean, yeah,
So it's like,
they're very entertaining. They cause quite a you know attention to the movie, but if it's done like over and over and over, people sort of become numb to it. So I can see why you appreciate the more psychological aspect because that's more interesting.
yeah. My favorite scene was when they go to the morgue and they meet Tony Todd's character.
Yep, that was
And
fun. Tony
yeah, that
Todd
whole
is
scene.
he steals the show in every scene he's in. He's
Mhm.
only in one scene, but still, like he's your eyes are glued to the screen when he's talking.
He's got one of the coolest voices. I
Oh yeah,
swear.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And you haven't seen Candyman, right?
No, I haven't.
If you like Tony Todd, you should watch Candyman. That's a great movie.
I enjoyed Tony Todd. There was one movie that I saw. I think it came out in like 2018 or 17. Um, I forgot what it was, but Tony Todd was in it. It was like this old house mansion, like I don't know. It was weird.
The
It
Haunted
was
Mansion
pretty
was
bad too. Like if you look up Tony Todd's latest work, you'll find it. It's pretty
okay.
bad. It's
Yeah.
he's in a lot of movies where it involves a lot of college looking people or high school looking people, and they're not really given that great of a script, and it's hit or miss if it's well acted or not. But whenever Tony Todd is on screen, whatever he
Yeah.
says,
Yeah.
the movie just goes from to like watchable or even really good and entertaining.
Yeah. So that one scene, it was so like atmospheric. You know, it's really when the themes of the movie really get get explained to you, like the whole
The
idea about death and what's
death,
going
yeah.
on. Yeah. And it's like for some reason those are usually my favorite scenes in scary movies.
Mm-hmm.
Even though exposition is by its nature like it's exposition, it shouldn't be.
Yeah, but it's done well actually. I kind of like the way
It
that
is.
the death is explained in this movie. Doesn't like to be cheated, has an agenda, and you really can't escape it.
Mhm. So when he came in for that one scene and then dipped afterwards, I also got disappointed. But I understand that you can't have him the whole time.
I like to think that he is death in the flesh, and he just
Mm.
decided to become human form for that one scene, just to scare the two main characters. And then after that, he's like, "All right, back to being evil and deadly."
I mean, he seemed way too omniscient for
Like
just the regular
he
mortician.
knew the characters' names,
Yeah.
so
So that makes sense.
that's gotta give you like an indication that he's probably not human.
Hmm. Now here's kind of here's a reason why I didn't want to see these movies, and that's as a fan of horror movies, I'm specifically interested in villains, in horror movie villains,
Okay.
because even though a lot of these movies are bad, like the villains elevate them. Like Saw, I keep coming back to Saw, but that's a great example because Jigsaw,
Jigsaw.
he's a great villain. He's a great character. And I
Do
think
you
most people
think that death in this movie sort of resembles a parallax theme element, like Parallax from the Green Lantern?
oh, it's not that bad. It's
Oh,
not
okay,
that bad.
okay, okay. Because I kind of see it like that because he's really impossible to defeat. You really have to be completely self-aware about your surroundings.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is like
there's no really uh, a reason that death is doing what it's doing. It wants to, I guess, right its wrongs, but for what reason? Why does he want to right its wrongs? What's the reasoning behind that?
I mean, because it's his game,
Yeah,
and when he loses, I mean, he's a sore loser essentially. It's kind of how I saw it.
yeah. Um, whenever I really go in deep into this type of movie, I just sort of get just disappointed because it's kind of it knows what it is, and
Mhm.
it kind of relies on the whole trope of, hey, look how this person dies, or can you guess how this person dies? Oh wait, no, he didn't die that way, he died this way, haha, gotcha. It's not really like a psychological analysis about why death does what death does.
Yeah, and that's kind of going back to what I was saying. That was the disappointing aspect of the movie for me,
Okay.
because again, I thought when it was being more psychological, it was actually pretty engaging, even
Mhm.
though it is like something about the 90s era of horror. Like every movie looked like Scream, sounded like Scream, the dialogue is all like Scream. Like,
You got screen vibes from this?
yeah, yeah. And now it's not as bad as I Know What You Did Last Summer, which
Oh
is
god, that movie.
one of the.
I watched that movie.
You did?
I've seen it. I watched that movie for the sole reason of Jennifer Love Hewitt. That's it. Sorry.
Look, you can Jennifer Love Hewitt without Jennifer loving that movie. That was
True,
weird.
you can. Um, TMI, but you can.
What? No, what? No. Getting back to the review.
Okay.
But no, this movie it was not. It was more stylistic than a. I Know What You Did Last Summer. It was kind of in the. It was in this middle space for me. The whole movie where like you're not a lame, boring slasher movie, but you're not the really interesting psychological thriller that I think you want to be. It was
So mixed
somewhere.
bag.
It was a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag. It was uneven. I liked it when I was watching it, but I don't think I would watch it again under like
Okay,
just my own free will.
I see. Would you watch the sequels?
That's a hard question. I think I would watch the second one, and if the second one didn't do it for me, I wouldn't
The
watch
second
it.
one, like I said, it follows the formula of the first one, but it kind of throws you a little bit of curveballs here and there. Um,
Okay.
the visions are more apparent, uh, sort of. The visions seem like things that are happening, but they're actually like preparing itself to happen. It's like seeing something happen before it happens. It's more on that type of vision than the first one. Ali Lauder returns as her character as Clear. She returns. She actually no, I don't think I should tell you that. If you want to watch the movie, you should guess where she ends up. Um,
That's
they
interesting
they
because
they have a resolution to
yeah.
the character to Devon Sawa's character. Um, tells you where he's at. And they continue on with the story with the new batch of characters who survive a freeway scene.
Now see the freeway scene. That's the movie with the logs
Oh yeah,
flying
yeah.
through.
That
Yeah, that's
movie traumatized me as a kid. Every time I'm on the freeway driving and I see an 18-wheeler with a bunch of tree branches or logs that are tied up by chains on the back, I hope to God that chain does not snap and then a bunch of cars are just going to get smashed and slaughtered by all these logs. I
yeah.
speed my ass up. I make sure I'm in front of that 18-wheeler. Like, no cap. Like, seriously, that traumatized me as a kid. Um,
And
it's a
it's
great
a
scene.
cool.
I would actually argue that the opening scene, the freeway scene, is better than the airplane scene.
I mean, just that idea alone, because everyone's had that experience, and I think we've all thought that. Like, what if this just flew back and hit me? So when
Yeah,
a
but
movie
but
can
the
exploit
idea of
that,
seeing it on film makes it more like it could happen in
yeah,
your
no,
mind.
that's really
Yeah.
cool. When a movie can exploit a fear you've had and like allow you to see that fear like happen, I think that's a really cool thing that horror movies can do, and I think that those are the scenes that resonate with you because
Mhm.
you can relate to it.
I would say the deaths are more entertaining than the first movie.
The second one,
The second one, they're more entertaining. I would say the story isn't that great. It's like, even though the first FD movie is kind of okay, the second one is not as good. It focuses more on the whole gimmicky idea of how people die during the movie.
yeah.
It's
Well, that's
more,
to be expected because
yeah,
that always happens, unfortunately.
because when companies finally like when they realize that their movie is beloved for a certain reason, then they capitalize on that reason. They capitalize on that factor. They double the
Yeah,
ante quite a bit, especially with when sequels with their sequels.
yeah, that's always been the case. Like
Yeah,
with Halloween, the sequels are just like more Michael Myers, like even more,
yeah,
more Jason Voorhees.
which is kind of sad in my opinion. They don't really
Yeah,
dive deep into
frustrating.
as to why people enjoy the movie for what it was. They just sort of
Mhm.
think, okay, well, they like the movie for this, so we're going to capitalize on that. Um,
Oh, it's cynical for sure.
yeah.
Mhm. And
What was your
I
favorite death?
that's a good question.
What was your favorite
I
one?
would say the the scene with the teacher was really funny. Just like
Oh,
things kept happening.
yeah. I would say that's actually my favorite too. It's
Oh, cool.
long. It's suspenseful. You kind of see like the kitchen knives on a little corner as
Mhm.
she's heating up her whatchamacallit, the on the
Yeah, the
stovetop,
computer. Yeah,
her
the
tea, I guess. But she
computer.
pours vodka in it though, so it's like
Well, there's a crack in the
a
glass.
crack, yeah, a crack in the glass.
Yeah.
And so, okay, what annoys me is that she doesn't notice that there's a crack in the glass and it's dripping on the
Yeah.
floor. That annoyed
He's
me.
an annoying
But
character.
it just kind of like when she put the mug on the computer desktop, that just saved it. It saved everything. It redeemed all the weird, annoying little cheesy shit that she decided just to bypass. And whenever it just blew up and sliced her neck, oh my god! Or yeah, that was really cool.
And then the fire, like it starts following her because
Yeah,
I guess it's like
it's
she's
like
got
death,
this
like
trail of vodka.
chasing her. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely my favorite death. The one with Scott, what's his name? Scott something. Scott Williamson?
Sean William Scott.
William Scott. That's a terrible, terrible name. That made me laugh the hardest.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really he wasn't sure when he was going to die. He thought he was going to
Yeah.
live, and so it just kind of it surprised you. It was a gotcha moment.
But that's what makes it like a to me just a kind of a typical movie though, is like, oh, we have a character who's just here to die. Like that's the only purpose he serves.
There was no really a reason for him to be in the movie except for him to die. Honestly,
Yeah, there's no reason for any of the others to be in the movie. Not really.
the main character maybe.
Well, I mean, obviously the main, but like, I mean, the body count is just there for, spectacle.
Yeah, the first two movies of the Final Destination series, they sort of go on the whole deaths that they're funny and they're sort of comical, but they kind of are at the least bit slightly more realistic than you think.
More realistic, like the deaths are more realistic.
Yeah, they're much more realistic and sort of believable compared to the last three movies. The last three movies are kind of going way far ahead towards the gimmicky stage. Like, I mean, the fourth FD movie, you got this lady who's at this hair salon, and this guy, he's cutting the grass out in the hair salon's front porch, and he hits this like pebble, and then immediately when she walks out of the hair salon, the lawnmower hits the pebble and it goes straight at her eye, and then she just dies because she got smacked right in her eyelid with the pebble, and then she just kind of falls down, like plops. The movie, along with the third one and the fifth one, it makes humans have literally just no bones. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of bone structure, or it seems like all the flesh and the body are all just like limbs, just flailing limbs. Like when it's like having no bones, pretty much.
I think I would like to see a supercut of all the deaths if I don't.
Oh yeah, they're on YouTube. They're all over YouTube. Go ahead, go see a supercut of all the deaths, and you can tell me which one is really stupid and like why did it even have to happen, versus like, oh, okay, I can see how that death could happen.
Yeah, the only death that made me feel something in this one was Todd's death, because I thought he was a decent character.
Yeah, I thought that Todd, and for the amount of screen time that he had, I thought that he was Alex's friend. Like they were actually best friends. Kind of seemed like they were friends because he was the only one that was still supporting Alex.
Yeah. Now, for some reason, they cast this weird actor to play him. So
he was a little weird.
He was supposed to be put off by
his acting was kind of strange, a little bit. I agree.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. His death is a little bit hard to watch sometimes.
What was that?
I don't know. I mean, it could happen. You could slip and fall, and there'd be a coat rack of clothes, and your neck gets caught into that, and you could suffocate and die. Yeah, that. And also, whenever like the effects are actually not that bad compared to 20 years later. It's pretty good. Like whenever that Todd dies, you see his eyes, and they're all red and just dark, and and it's scary. It feels very, very real to me, that part.
Yeah. So I'll say that that's the most effective death scene. I think the one that entertained me the most was the teacher's death. Yeah. Also, I really did not like her as a character, so that was.
I think she was supposed to be like that, very unlikable.
I guess so, because she really and I thought she would redeem herself by some point, but she didn't. Like she just.
That wasn't Death's plan.
Calls the cops on him.
Was not Death's plan.
Nope.
Nope.
No redemption for you.
I kind of the FBI characters are kind of laughable. They don't really feel like they're from the FBI. I feel like they're just they act like they're trainee cops. Like they act like they're not really like part of the federal bureaucratic investigation. They don't act like agents to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what we were supposed to think of them because they got a lot of screen time,
They did. They got way too much screen time, more than I would, more than they were deserving of.
basically. Yeah. So
Oh well.
uh, I think they were also there for maybe comical effect or something because they were kind of goofy.
I guess they were trying to play the whole good cop, bad cop thing. I don't know.
And
I
I don't
didn't
know
like the
either.
scenes with them. I didn't like when they were on screen. The only time I had tolerated them was when they took Alex from Mrs. Luton house, and Alex was just telling them like what Death's plan is.
Uh,
And that's probably my favorite scene out of them. But other than the fact when they were chasing Alex in the forest, I was like, why are you guys still here? I can see why. I understand why, but like then they sort of leave after that. Like after Alex gets away, they just sort of let him go.
but then they show up at Clear's house and they
Yeah,
save him, I guess.
Deus Ex Machina moment, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Alex was just saved by this vision. Like the universe told him, "Hey, this plane is going to crash." So that's how the movie starts. It's a Deus Ex Machina.
I suppose maybe it's Death. Maybe, like I said, Death has personality in this movie, and he likes to play with
Yeah.
characters that think that they escape death, but they're like, "Oh, you thought, you know."
Mm. Yeah. So to boil it down, I thought this was a pleasant movie.
Pleasant.
I was,
Okay, I like the
yeah,
word.
yeah, it was pleasant. It was fun enough. It actually had some potential that I think it wasted, which makes it a little disappointing, just a little.
Just a little.
Uh, what?
I was just making fun of you. Just a little.
Just little.
Just a little.
Yeah. Depending on who you are, I would recommend it. Like if you like the elaborate deaths, I mean, the Final Destination is that franchise. That's the niche it's
That's
carved
what it's
out for.
made for. That's their niche.
Yeah. Although I'd say I don't know would a person who liked the elaborate deaths be satisfied by this movie because it doesn't have a lot of those scenes.
Um, I disagree. I think these deaths are very elaborate.
But this doesn't have a lot, like
It doesn't have a lot. The movies later on in the franchise do kill off a lot more people.
yeah, and
They
that's the
do,
thing, right?
and this one makes it seem like the characters in this one are a little bit smarter with death and how they tackle death's plan or choices. In the later movies, the characters become much more dumb, much more stupid, and they
Mm.
make their choices aren't intelligent, or there's a lack of intelligence. There's a lot of characters where they're like, I got death. I can't. Death, fuck you. You ain't got nothing on me. I'm invincible. You know that type of shit. And then they die. I'm thinking of one scene from Final Destination 3 where that shit happens like on a T. But that's Final Destination 3. That's probably the most gimmicky of all the movies.
Heard that's the worst.
It's fine. I like Mary Elizabeth Winstead character and the guy who played the Luck of the Irish. I like their characters, but they're the
Yeah.
main two characters in the movie. Every other character in this movie, in the third one, are so unlikable. There's a lot of character tropes in the third one. You got the two girls who are like blondes, dumb blondes, bimbos, like they're complete dumbasses. They just don't really care. Like, oh, cool, let's go suntan and like actually and die because the suntan is temperature is going high up or whatever. And
But all blondes talk like that, by the way.
that's literally how they talk in the movie. They're like, oh,
I'm no, I'm sure movies are
they
really
exaggerate,
Hmm.
overly exaggerate. There's one guy who's like a complete dick, and he's got this camera, and he's always trying to record things and people. Then again, it was the mid 2000s, so
Yeah.
uh, now then again, everyone's doing it now. Everyone's just recording things, but
Yeah. Guys who
yeah.
record things are creeps.
What's up? Yeah, yeah. Back then, now it's like the norm, I guess. You got the guy that I was impersonating, the guy who's like this big macho football guy, and he's like, I can't die. I beat death, and he gets eviscerated. And you got these two other people who are like in their emo phase. So, yeah, the third one has a lot of character tropes. With the main two characters actually being real people, I would say. And then the fourth one is just completely stupid. It's stupid. Oh my god, it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Oh, that's exciting. Maybe I'll watch that one.
It's called The Final Destination. It's not called Final Destination 4. It's called The Final Destination.
Oh, we've gotten
Because
to the point in the franchise where they don't use numbers anymore.
yeah, but I think it's because they thought that was when the series would end. But then because it was poorly received, they're like, okay, let's try to redeem our fans. Let's create Final Destination 5, which
Is
is
that the
actually
last one?
yes, it is, but it's not the last one in chronological order.
Oh, but just the last one that was made.
Yes, but I'm not going to explain why because you're going to see it, and it's actually
That's
not
fine.
that bad.
Okay.
You're going to be like, what the fuck at one part in the movie. If you see the fifth one, it's pretty good. The deaths are kind of lame though. David Kocher is in the movie.
Who's David Kocher?
Our Kocher. He plays the guy in The Office. What's his name? Todd Packer.
Oh,
he played. Yeah, he's in this movie. Okay. he's in the fifth Final Destination movie.
Well, I can only hope that he dies because Todd Packer is the most skin-crawling character I've ever encountered.
Oh man!
Not saying that the actor's like that, but
he plays a good douchebag. I mean, he basically plays Todd Packer in the movie.
Oh, that's exciting. All right, yeah. I'll check it out. All right, yeah. But final thoughts. Good, decent movie.
It's good. For what it is, it knows what it is. It doesn't go in depth with the psychological themes that it could have gone. I agree with you on that. But I think the deaths are really what makes the movie what it is. It's entertaining. Doesn't take itself too seriously. It's 90 minutes. It's an hour and 30-minute movie. It's not that long. The characters actually kind of act like real people.
Definitely Devon Sawa.
Yeah, he does a very good job in the movie. I don't know what has happened to him. I wish he was in more movies.
He was actually in John Travolta's last box office disaster, The Fanatic.
I heard about that movie. Chris Stuckman made a hilarious review on that.
He did. Devon Sawa was the guy, the celebrity of the movie.
Huh. Okay.
Kind of makes me sad because he was clearly a good actor. So I don't know why.
He was a very good actor. I thought he should. Honestly, he should have been in the second Final Destination movie, but he should have been in the other ones. Like there should have been like a continuation of his character, but they decided to go a different direction.
They always do that.
Yeah. But if you're a fan of slasher flicks, if you're a fan of like 1,000 Ways to Die type of thematic element or like the tone of it, if you like that, then go watch this movie. It's a nice watch. If you're 13 or below, and if you have a strong stomach, you can watch this movie too. But if you don't have a strong stomach, then skip this. It's not. You won't enjoy it. At least your stomach won't.
Advice with Jeremy Kretzer.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and that's coming from someone who didn't even want to see it, to be honest. But it was better than I expected. If you were a gore hound, if you like the elaborate kills, obviously go watch it. And even if you're just looking for an above-average horror movie, you could do a lot worse.
Yeah. Well said. Well, that is the end of this video / podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Gabe.
And we are the Cinnamon signing out.